Welcome back. I'm Jocelyn Bamford. My guest today is Dan Mcteague, president of Canadians for Affordable Energy. Dan, let's dive into Bill C-5. Can you give us just a brief overview of the bill?
Well, the bill was presented by the government well before budgets to try to suggest that they could somehow streamline trade between the provinces as a means of responding to the tariff threats by the United States, as well as fast track projects which have yet to be identified, and hopefully get those built as quickly as possible. Of course, the devil is in the details, and we don't really know what this means, but it gives powers to the government that is likely to either suggest that they are making a wholesale 180-degree change from their attempt at stifling uh, projects across the country, infrastructure projects, especially energy projects, versus the stance in the past, which has been sort of not to deal with these things and to somehow believe that there's no business case. One has to wonder whether or not the power which is given to the executive, to ministers, and to cabinet, and it now allows them to, say, fast track all the pipelines in Canada that were put on hold or shelved or destroyed, and LNG projects. Now, some are probably going to look at electrification as being the big deal. All this takes a lot of money, takes a lot of investment. We know the past 10 years, Canada has done a really good job at discouraging investments from coming into the country, stated except for real estate for the past few years. Now that, of course, has failed. So it's really a Hail Mary attempt by the government to say, hey, we were wrong over the past 10 years. And the guy we have pushing this is the very guy that promoted these kind of objectives that have diminished the country and made it less economically attractive, bar none.
Yeah, a lot of concerns. And Dan, there's also concerns about the bill, especially with government presumably picking winners and losers. Let's listen to the energy critic for the Conservative Party of Canada, Shannon Stubs, and we'd like to get your thoughts on the other side.
How do political hand-picked projects give investor certainty?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the politicians do not pick the projects. The projects come up through a consultation between our government, the provincial governments, Indigenous peoples, and proponents. When those four groups come together to put a project together, it gets considered for national interest.
The Honourable Member.
Well, there are 28 energy and critical mineral projects in federal review stuck right now. Why not fast-track those?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, if the honourable member would like to see these projects accelerated, we hope they'll support the One Canadian Economy bill, and we will get going on those projects.
Dan, your thoughts on what Ms. Stubbs had to say?
Well, it sounds like the government didn't need the power to give itself the authority to say what projects it wants to approve. It sounds like it's dithering. It's a strategic attempt at trying to say that they're going to do something, but they're not getting around to doing it. What we do know is, and I think critic Shannon Stubs has made it very clear, is that you've got the projects right in front of you. We all know that the country basically turned its back on 2 or 3 pipelines. We also know the country destroyed the ability to build LNG projects at a time in which the world wants more of it, in which Canada has plenty of natural gas. So, yeah, I think it's for the Liberal Party and its Mark Carney government. They're running out of runway here. They can't continue to find excuses, say we'll get around to doing it. A little bit like the budget. You don't just think about it, you damn well disclose it.
Yeah, well, right now, various groups are scrambling to be on that 20 projects of national interest. I was in a briefing call with some senior bureaucrats on the bill where it was positioned that only projects that meet the government's environmental targets will be considered. And no one wanted to speak about the issues of the bill because everybody was trying to position their project. How do you think this is going to play out?
Well, I think it's going to play out with winners and losers. And I think we're likely to see, given that the Liberals don't want to get rid of their Bill 669, Bill C-48, the no pipelines, and the impact assessment analysis, rigorous, nonsensical requirement for pipelines, that it sounds like this may be just an attempt at trying to get through electrification. We know that Mark Carney said it's got to be all about decarbonization, which is ridiculous. When you think 3% of the CO2 in the world is man-made, of which Canada's 1.5% of that, 0.04%, which makes up the atmosphere, you realize that this is just fantasy. And of course, I don't even want to talk about the fact the man has heavily invested that is Mark Carney, whether it's blind trust or not, which he should have damn well sold off before coming into this. Anything he does or says here is somehow going to advantage him, the company he worked with, the company for which he left, Brookfield. And ultimately, it's not just him, it's his assistants, it's his chief of staff. We have the proverbial.
I'm going to hold you there, Dan, because we got to go to commercial. We'll be right back on Canadian Innovators.